What's something you secretly wish your partner would do in bed, but you're too nervous to ask for? Story 1. Okay, real talk. I love my partner. They're thoughtful, attentive, and our intimate life is great. No complaints, that slow, sweet, romantic kind of connection. Yeah, we've got that on lock. But every now and then, I secretly wish they just absolutely go for it. Like no candlelight, no soft music, just pure, unfiltered chaos. I want to be tossed around like a throw pillow. I want the kind of energy where the neighbors are considering calling someone. I want to feel like a storm just hit the bedroom and I'm clinging to the mattress for dear life. But have I told them this? Nope, because I don't want to sound ungrateful or weird them out. They're more on the gentle side, and I don't want to make them feel like what we have isn't enough. Because it is. I just sometimes crave a little more intensity. So for now, I keep it to myself and hope that maybe one day they'll read my mind, or that I'll finally work up the courage to blurt it out mid-makeout. Until then, I'll be over here dreaming of barn doors. Before we continue, do us a quick favor, smash that like button and subscribe to support our channel. Story 2. Okay, here goes. I've been with my girlfriend for almost 3 years now. She's amazing, kind, funny, ridiculously smart, and honestly, our relationship is great. But there's this one thing I've never brought up, and every time I almost do, I chicken out. I secretly wish she'd be more assertive in bed. Like, not full-on boss me around level or anything extreme, but just take the lead sometimes. Surprise me. Maybe pin me down or whisper something confident that makes me forget my own name. It's not even about anything crazy. It's the energy I crave more than anything. But here's the thing. I've always been the initiator, the planner, the hey, let's spice things up guy. And I don't mind, but deep down I'd love to just be surprised one night with her setting the pace. I've never brought it up because I don't want her to feel pressured or like she has to perform a role she's not comfortable with. She's a little more reserved, and I respect that completely. I guess I'm just worried that bringing it up would make things awkward, or worse, make her feel like she's not doing enough. So for now, I just kind of keep the fantasy to myself. Maybe one day I'll work up the courage to say something, or maybe I'll just keep dreaming about it quietly every time she rolls over and cuddles up against me. Story 3. So over the past year, I made some serious life changes. I cut out alcohol completely, started TRT under medical supervision, and hit the gym like a man on a mission. Squats, deadlifts, core, you name it. I wasn't just working out for looks. I had a very specific goal in mind. One night, my wife asked me why I was training so hard. Was it for health, confidence, longevity? I looked her dead in the eyes and said, honestly, I want to bring back the kind of bedroom energy we had when we broke that headboard back in the early days. She laughed, thought I was joking, but I wasn't. Fast forward to today, let's just say mission accomplished. I've got the energy, the strength, and the stamina I hadn't felt in years, and judging by her smile every morning, she's definitely noticed. The headboard is still intact, for now, but the grin she wears afterward, absolutely worth every rep. Moral of the story, sometimes your fitness goals aren't just about six-packs, they're about bringing back that spark, and maybe a little home renovation in the process. Story 4. A lot of people think it's hard to get a naturally kind partner to be more dominant in the bedroom, but honestly, it might be easier than you'd expect. My husband is one of the gentlest souls you'll ever meet. He's always been incredibly attentive and careful, especially in bed because he genuinely didn't want to hurt me or make me uncomfortable. His top priority has always been making me happy. So one day, I just sat him down and told him something simple. If you really want to make me happy, I need you to be rougher. I want that energy. That would make me feel cared for. And once he understood that being more assertive, even a little aggressive, wasn't something that would upset me, but something that would actually bring me joy, he was all in. But we didn't just wing it. We talked about setting boundaries and made sure it felt safe for both of us. We used the stoplight system. Green means everything's great. Yellow means ease up a bit, and red is a full stop. We even practiced using those terms casually, so he'd feel comfortable and not second-guess every move. It gave him peace of mind, and it gave me exactly what I'd been hoping for. Now, let's just say he's got zero problem bringing the intensity, and we're both a lot happier for it. Sometimes kindness isn't the opposite of dominance. It's just waiting for the right signal. Story 5. Here's my secret. I love my boyfriend. He's genuinely one of the kindest, most considerate people I've ever met. The kind of guy who opens doors, remembers my coffee order, and never raises his voice. That softness, it's actually what drew me to him in the first place. But in the bedroom, sometimes I wish he'd be a little less gentle gentleman and a little more take charge chaos. Don't get me wrong, we have a great connection. He's always focused on making sure I'm comfortable and happy, but deep down, I crave something different once in a while. I wish he'd pin me down, take control, and not ask first, just know. The thing is, I feel weird even thinking it. Because how do you say, hey, you're amazing and thoughtful and loving, but could you pretend you're not for like 15 minutes? It sounds insane, and I don't want to hurt his feelings or make him think he's not enough. Because he is. He's everything. Still, a little unexpected dominance here and there wouldn't hurt. I haven't brought it up yet, but maybe someday I'll figure out how to say, I love your heart, but sometimes I want you to scare it a little. Story 6. Okay, here's my quiet little confession. There's one thing I've always low-key wanted in a relationship, and I've never quite had the nerve to fully ask for it. I've always dreamed of being woken up with a blowy. Not in a demanding or entitled way, I just think there's something deeply intimate and affectionate about waking up to that kind of surprise. It's been the one thing that's lived rent-free in my mind for years. I've hinted at it with partners before. Once or twice, I even tried bringing it up directly. But every time it either got brushed off, turned into a joke, or just never happened. And I get it, it's a specific ask, and consent and comfort always come first. But after enough silence or awkward reactions, I started feeling kind of selfish for even wanting it. So I stopped bringing it up altogether. Now it's just something I keep to myself. A little maybe one day kind of fantasy. I don't resent anyone or feel bitter. I just wish I didn't feel so weird about wanting it in the first place. Story 7. This one's kind of awkward to admit, but here goes. If I had one secret wish in the bedroom, it would be this. I just want my partner to give a little more attention to my bosoms. Nothing complicated, just some appreciation. A little focus. Maybe play with them. Maybe even a bit of motorboating. Make me feel like they actually notice what's right there. Don't get me wrong, my partner is sweet and thoughtful. They're not selfish by any means, but sometimes it feels like they go through the motions without really exploring or prioritizing what I enjoy most. And for me, that kind of touch, it's a huge part of the experience. It makes me feel wanted, seen, and turned on. I've dropped hints, made little comments, but it never really clicks, and I'm honestly too shy to say, hey, can you maybe spend a little more time up here without feeling weird or demanding? So yeah, I secretly wish they'd just slow down, tune in, and make it more about mutual pleasure, especially mine, because sometimes being adored in the small ways makes the biggest difference. Story 8. Long post, sorry, but I just really need to get this off my chest, and I don't know where else to go. So I, 21F, have been seeing this guy, 20M, for a while now, and we've never been intimate together. The thing is, I've always been way too nervous to take that step with him, or anyone really. It's been especially hard because we're on and off long distance, so when he visits, we're either busy with other things or just exhausted from the travel. Recently, though, he's been pushing more and more for us to get intimate. And today I kind of snapped. He keeps saying things like, I love thick girls, which in theory is fine, but here's the thing. He's never dated anyone who's plus size. All the plus size people he talks about are the ones he sees online. Thin models with big perky butts and breasts, which honestly isn't what I look like at all. He even said something like, I find the girls I see on Ras thick hot. I tried to explain to him that I don't look like that and that he might be disappointed if he's expecting me to, but he just brushes it off and insists that I look exactly like the women he's talking about. The problem is he has no idea what my figure actually is because I dress in loose, baggy clothes, and trust me, my body looks very different without them. He's also really skinny, which just makes me feel even worse in comparison. Now I'm feeling more nervous than ever because I get the sense that he's built up this idea in his head of what I'm supposed to look like based on what he's seen online. And I'm worried that when he actually sees me bare, The reality won't match up to what he's imagined. The fact that I've struggled with an eating disorder recovery just makes all of this feel even more intense for me. I'm scared that he'll be disappointed, and that maybe he'll just end up leaving because I don't meet his expectations. I know this is all my own anxiety talking, but it feels like a really heavy weight on me. I just don't know what to do. And I'm afraid to talk to him more about it because I don't want to make it worse. I feel like I'm stuck between wanting to be vulnerable with him and being scared of being judged or rejected. Story 9. I've always been really turned on by the idea of giving up control in the bedroom. Like full-on surrender. I want to be teased until I'm practically begging, and then have it all taken away, only to start again. Basically edge me continuously until I beg for release, but denying me and doing it all over again. The idea of someone else deciding when or if I get to finish, that level of tension and anticipation, wildly exciting in theory. I once nervously brought it up to my partner. Just barely. I said something casual like, I think denial could maybe be kind of hot, and immediately felt so awkward and exposed that I downplayed it. They said, yeah, we could try that, but it never came up again, and I've been too nervous to mention it since. Now I constantly overthink it. Was the idea weird? Did I gross them out? Were they just being polite when they said yes? I don't know. And that uncertainty has kept me from saying anything more. So for now, it just lives in the back of my mind. A quiet little fantasy that I'm too embarrassed to revisit out loud. Maybe one day I'll find the confidence to bring it up again, or maybe I'll just keep wondering what could have happened if I had. Story 10. I've always wanted more dirty talk in the bedroom. Nothing wild, just a little extra spice, a little attitude, something more than the usual sweet nothings. But ever since I brought it up with my first boyfriend, I've had serious hesitation. I finally got the courage to ask him for a little dirty talk. And his response? He froze, got super awkward, and then blurted out, you bish? Like he was trying to improvise on the spot and panic mode his way into what sounded like a confused insult. I absolutely lost it. I was laughing so hard I nearly fell off the bed. Ever since then, I haven't really asked anyone else. I think I've got a little trauma from the world's worst improv attempt, but I still really want it. My current partner is amazing, and I have a feeling they'd actually be up for it. I just don't know how to bring it up without making it awkward again. Do I just send a sample line via text like, try saying this, or make a PowerPoint? Honestly, at this point, I'm about one glass of wine away from drafting a script. Story 11. I've always been more of a giver in the bedroom. I don't mind it. I actually enjoy it. I've got the toys, the technique, the enthusiasm, and honestly, I think part of it comes from being very aware of my own shortcomings, physically speaking. So instead of stressing about what I don't have, I focus on making sure my partner feels incredible. That's where I've always put my energy. But deep down, I sometimes wish the attention would shift to me just once. I want her to worship my dong. I want to feel like my body, and especially that part of me, is something to be desired on its own, not just tolerated or worked around. The thing is, I've never actually asked for that. I worry it would come off as needy, or worse, that my partner would go through the motions and it would feel forced, and the last thing I want is to turn intimacy into something awkward or uncomfortable. So I stay quiet, I play my role, and I keep hoping that one day, without me having to say it, she'll just see me that way completely, even if it's just for one night. Story 12. So, today my boyfriend and I broke up. He said he's falling out of love with me and doesn't think he'll ever feel the same way about me again. I asked him if he was willing to try couples therapy or even individual therapy, but he said he didn't think it would make any difference. To be honest, there were signs. Over time, he became more distant. We'd still have great conversations, but it felt like he was pulling away emotionally. He stopped initiating physical affection, like hugs and kisses, and even sex. There was a moment where he told me he was trying to avoid me. It's honestly heartbreaking. I still have so much love for him, and I wanted to work through this, fight for our relationship, but it felt like I was the only one trying. It hurts so much to think that we won't grow old together, that we won't face life's challenges side by side. Watching him slowly pull away and not being able to do anything about it is so painful. I hate feeling like this. It's like the rug got pulled out from under me, and now I'm left standing in the aftermath wondering what went wrong. It's hard not to break down because I never expected it to end like this. Story 13. I secretly wish my partner would show up in the bedroom one night, like a total badass, think international spy, complete with a mysterious accent and a bit of a morally questionable attitude. Don't just casually strip off your shirt. I want them to kick down the door, slam a fake passport on the nightstand, and then whisper, "We don't have much time." It's the whole secret agent vibe. And honestly, it's my fantasy. But do I ever directly ask for it? Of course not. That would be way too bold. Instead, I casually drop mentions of James Bond at dinner and hope that they pick up on it. Like maybe they'll suddenly get it and turn into some suave, dangerous, world-saving heartthrob when the time is right. But nothing yet. Maybe one day I'll work up the courage to just ask. Until then, I'll keep living out my spy fantasies in my head and watching 007 movies a little too intently. Story 14. Okay, so here's a little something I've been thinking about for a while. It's not that I'm nervous to ask my partner. I just really wish he would do this on his own. I'd love for him to worship me, from head to toe, just shower me with affection, telling me how much he loves me and desires me, all while making me feel like I'm the only person in the room. I imagine it starting with an afternoon of teasing, maybe some neck kisses, a little rubbing in all the right places, and him whispering in my ear all the things he's going to do to me later. It's the anticipation that I crave, and I think that would really take our connection to another level. That kind of intimacy feels like the perfect buildup. On the flip side, I'd love to do something similar for him, showing him how much he means to me, and maybe even playing with a vibrator while exploring new sensations. It feels like such a sweet and intimate experience, and I think it would be an amazing way to connect on a deeper level if he'd be open to it. I guess I just really want to feel desired in that way and to share that experience with him, building up the excitement and trust. I know it might be a little outside the norm, but the idea of us both exploring that kind of connection sounds so fulfilling. Story 15. Okay, I'll start by saying I absolutely love my husband. He's the kindest, most caring person I know, and he has the biggest heart, seriously. I couldn't ask for a better partner. I also want to clarify that I'm one of those hyper-independent women. I love my partner, but I really value my personal space, and sometimes I just need a little room to breathe. Here's where it gets tricky. Lately, I've been getting frustrated with my husband's constant attention. A recent example, I've been sick for the past 2-3 days with a cold, and every few minutes he's asking, "Can I get you anything? Are you sure you're okay?" Even when I say no, he insists, "Are you sure?" And it's honestly starting to drive me a little nuts. It feels like he's not listening to me, and I just need him to back off a bit. Another thing is that we live in a small apartment, so we're always in close proximity. Every time I come out of the bathroom, he's standing right by the door waiting for me. I've started checking if he's there when I open the door because I just need some space. Sometimes a girl just wants to be alone. And then there's the whole sensing when I'm tired thing. In the evenings, if he thinks I'm tired, he'll gather blankets and pillows and set everything up for me on the couch. I'll tell him I'm fine and don't need anything, but he insists. It gets to the point where I feel like I have to sit on the couch and do nothing all evening, even though I don't need to. Lastly, the compliments. Don't get me wrong, I love that he tells me I'm cute or that he's obsessed with me, but it's constant. I get these kinds of compliments multiple times a day, and while I appreciate the sentiment, it's starting to feel less meaningful. It's so frequent now that I barely register it. I know this sounds like I have it pretty good, and I do, but the underlying issue is that he fusses over me so much. And for someone like me who values independence, it can sometimes feel a little overwhelming. Is there anyone else here who's hyper-independent and feels this way? I just wish there was a way to get him to understand that I need a little less attention at times without feeling guilty about it. Story 16. I think it would be incredibly hot if my partner were to tie me to a chair, hide me away in a closet, and then essentially just have me there for her whenever she wants, for 24 hours straight. Like the whole "I'm at her complete disposal" thing. It's not that I want to be trapped or anything. It's more about surrendering control and feeling desired without the usual pressure of "should we do this?" or "what do you want?" I think the idea of her having me whenever she wants, without any other obligations or distractions, is what really excites me. But I've never mentioned it. I'm way too shy, and I'm afraid it might come across as weird or make her uncomfortable. So I keep it to myself and sometimes just fantasize about it. While this is hot as a fantasy, you should never leave someone tied up unaccompanied. Also, you can cause serious damage by being tied up for long stretches of time, but you could definitely be tied up or caged in a room they were in. A pillory is a classic for this, and some of them can be quite comfortable for long-term use. There's also clothing you can safely wear to give that sense of being constantly and immediately available to them. Like you can wear an unbuckled straitjacket, which they can then buckle up that they want to make use of you. Or you could wear ankle and wrist bracelets and a collar with carabiners hanging off of them so that they can then quickly clip you into restraints when they'd like to. Or one way to do this safely would be to make it a test of willpower rather than physical restraint. So you could be tied up and left in a closet using just pieces of dental floss or human hair to restrain you, but under threat of severe consequences if they come back to find you have broken your bonds. Story 17. I've been in a long-term relationship with my partner, and we've always been pretty careful about things like birth control. But there's this one thing I've been secretly thinking about, and honestly, I'm too nervous to ask her about. I'm wondering if we could ever explore the idea of not pulling out when we bang. It's not that I want to take a huge risk, but I feel like the chances of pregnancy are incredibly low at her age. She's in her 50s and hasn't started menopause yet, plus she's on a medication for an autoimmune disease that affects fertility. So in theory, I feel like it's probably a very low-risk situation. But I don't really know for sure, and the last thing I want to do is make her feel uncomfortable or pressure her into something she's not comfortable with. I keep overthinking it because I'm worried I'm missing something or that I'm wrong about the odds. It's just a thought I have, and I keep it to myself because I'm not sure how to bring it up in a way that wouldn't sound reckless or selfish. Story 18. I'm dating a man I truly love. Like I could see myself marrying this person kind of love. We've grown a lot closer, emotionally, physically, and honestly, it's the healthiest and happiest relationship I've ever been in. But there's something I've been struggling with or nervous to share with him, and I've never really talked about it because it makes me feel kind of embarrassed and even a little irrational. It's this feeling of retroactive jealousy. Basically, I find myself getting increasingly uncomfortable about the fact that my partner has had more intimate partners than I have. It's not even a crazy high number or anything, just more than me. The thing is, I've only ever slept with people I was in serious relationships with. So for me, sleeping with someone has always been this really deep, emotional, intimate thing, the most vulnerable connection two people can share. And it kind of stings to think he shared that experience with people he wasn't even in love with. I know this isn't totally fair. I know sleeping with someone can mean a lot of different things to different people. Sometimes it's love, sometimes it's curiosity or comfort, or just something fun and consensual between adults. But my brain just doesn't work that way. And the more serious we get, the more I feel haunted by these thoughts. Like I wish I could have been his first emotionally connected experience like this. I'm 33, divorced, and I know I'm not naive, but I guess my heart and mind just process intimacy differently than most of my friends, who all tell me it's totally normal to have a past. I just wish I could shut these thoughts off and fully accept that what we have now is real, deep, and more meaningful than anything either of us had before. Story 19. So here's a little thing I've been thinking about for a while, and it's kind of hard to admit. I really wish my partner would just pet my kitty sometimes. It seems like such a simple thing, but for some reason it doesn't happen as often as I'd like. Every time I bring it up, though, there's always a reason it doesn't work. One, his arm gets tired, which I totally understand, but it's like, come on, it's just a few minutes, right? Two, he's not in the mood, and I get it. Antidepressants can mess with libido, but it's still kind of frustrating. Three, he gets motion sickness. The shaking from the movements makes him feel nauseous, which I can't blame him for, but it's still a barrier. Four, distractions. Sometimes he just gets distracted by his phone or the dog, and the moment passes before anything happens. I guess it all comes down to this. When you're in a relationship and you're not giving any energy to each other, it feels like something is missing. I get that life can get in the way, but if you're not prioritizing each other's intimate needs, it's bound to cause a disconnect. I don't want to sound like I'm being selfish, but I just feel like it would make a difference if we could be more present with each other in this way. I'm tired of feeling like I'm asking for too much, especially when something like this seems so simple to me. Story 20. I've been going back and forth on whether I should even bring this up to my partner. The truth is, I've been curious about the idea of a three score, but I have no idea how to talk about it without sounding like I'm dissatisfied or just chasing a fantasy. I know a lot of people say, every guy wants this, and honestly, that kind of stereotype does more harm than good. It makes genuine curiosity feel sleazy, and it makes real, trusting relationships harder to navigate. The more I read and reflect, the more I realize that wanting something doesn't automatically mean you need it, or that you're any less committed to your partner. Here's what I've learned from listening to wiser people than me. On Reddit and in real life, desire isn't the enemy of love. In fact, it's the choices we make about our desires that define our commitment. My partner is someone I love deeply, and while attraction to others can happen, it doesn't lessen the bond we've built. If anything, watching him choose me, every day, every moment, is what makes our love feel real. I don't even know if I'll ever bring it up. Maybe it stays a fantasy, and that's okay, because what matters more to me is the respect, trust, and emotional intimacy we share. I've learned that love isn't just about having the same desires, it's about having the same values, and I'm lucky to have that. To anyone else feeling torn about sharing something vulnerable, you're not alone. Just make sure you're speaking from a place of love and respect, not from fear or pressure. Story 21. I really wish we could have an honest conversation about our intimate life. Lately, it feels like there's this disconnect when things seem to be going well, and then she sort of shuts it down unexpectedly. I'm not sure why, and I can't help but wonder if there's something I'm doing or not doing that's causing it. I'd love to sit down with her and just ask, is there anything I could do better, or is there something you like that I'm not doing enough of? I don't want to pressure her or make it about wanting more banging, but I want to know how to make things better for both of us. Could be that her intimate drive just isn't the same as mine right now. Maybe she's overwhelmed with work, studies, or house chores. I get that life is busy, but I want to know if there's something I'm missing that could help us reconnect. If there's something she doesn't like but hasn't told me, I want to be open to that too. I just want us to be in sync. The hard part is actually asking the right questions and then really listening. It's so easy for people on the outside to say, it's all about communication, but they don't always explain what that looks like in practice. Based on what I've learned, it's important to ask calmly, listen closely, and respond with empathy. If she says something like, I really don't like this, I'll be sure to say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I'll stop doing that. I want you to feel good and comfortable. And most importantly, I want to keep the conversation focused on our intimate life being the best it can be for both of us, not just me wanting more banging. I think if we talk about it openly and calmly, it could really make a difference. Story 22. As a woman, I feel like there's more to understanding our intimate desires than people often realize. It's not just about asking for things directly, it's about understanding how our bodies work and what affects our libido. We have a hormonal cycle that plays a huge role in how we feel throughout the month. When our hormones are balanced and healthy, there's a specific time in our cycle, usually around day 11 or so, when we're at our most fertile and estrogen levels peak. During this time, we actually feel more in the mood to bang. It's like a natural window where we feel our sexiest and most passionate. But once that window closes and progesterone takes over, I personally start feeling less sexy, sometimes a little bloated, tired, and definitely not in the mood. So if you're in a relationship and want to know when your partner feels the most desirable, it's worth understanding her cycle. Ask her when she feels the most confident or the sexiest. Chances are it's during that fertility window when she feels more naturally inclined to get it on. But here's the catch. If your partner is on birth control, her hormones won't fluctuate the same way, so she might not experience this sexy window at all. That's why I personally choose to manage my cycle intuitively instead of relying on hormonal birth control, but it's definitely a personal choice. Speaking of which, I found a fun way to communicate my desires with my boyfriend. For Christmas, I gave him a bottle of gummy bears that I told him were a powerful aphrodisiac. Whenever I'm in the mood, I give him one. and it lets him know I'm ready for some action. He's not always great at making the first move, so this has been a cute and successful way to let him know it's been working so far. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.